fantastic speakers, maybe 2, but actually we can keep going. If you're having trouble hearing on Facebook Live, you can email us, we won't see it till after. We've got 2 fantastic speakers for you tonight. We've got Dan Dwyer, who's going to introduce himself formally in a moment, and then we've got Tony Kinsella, who's a teacher, come poet, come writer, comedian. So I'm really quite excited. In fact, we've got 3 men tonight. I don't know what happened there. Actually, Didsbury Festival's probably what happened there. So welcome back. It's been a short break. We just wanted to fill you in on some of the stuff that's been happening. We were promoting the Proper Project, who have been successful in their crowdfunding and have raised £12,000, which is amazing. And that's all to work on the area of Sandhurst Road behind Didsbury Park. So that's brilliant. Yesterday we had our first talking tent stall at Didsbury Festival. Laurie and Tracy were real troopers at getting people to come over in the rain. It rained all day, it was cold, I know some of you were there. But it was brilliant, wasn't it? It was really good, really good. We had loads of people, so you can see all those videos of people that we recorded online. So just 1 or 2 little announcements, just so people sort of bear in mind. There's a project going on called Future Didsbury, and it's all about making Didsbury more accessible. And it's led by Didsbury Civic Society, who are the people who manage sort of notice boards and arrange the parade in November and so on, Armistice Day and those sort of things. And so they'd like people to attend. So when I say younger people, I mean more of the demographic in this room that otherwise might be inferred from the title of Civic Society, to see what our views are about how the future of Didsbury can be. So they're meeting on the 11th of June and the 18th of June. And if you want to find out more, please email us more about that. But it's really about being more accessible. Didsbury has the highest number of elderly people in the Greater Manchester area. So that's one of the issues they want to discuss and possibly deal with more mobility and more accessibility and so on and so forth. So I've done that. We've got great prizes for you tonight and then loads of stuff. But anyway, enough of that bump. Let's get on to the main man. Hello, Dan.
Hi.
I want to call you Daniel, Dan. Can you just sort of say your full name for the camera?
Yeah, my name's Dan McDwyer.
McDwyer? I think I've been calling you Dan Dwyer. Indeed, yeah, Dan.
I sometimes get Dan McDwyer.
Oh, because you're a choir master, yeah. I don't mind that. Now, Dan, just by way of background for everybody, you were the choir master music teacher at Parswood High School here in Didsbury, which many of us will be familiar with. Really, we discovered you, if I can put it in that way, after the bomb, which killed 22 people. And there was a concert thereafter where your choir from Parswood sang with the pop star Ariana Grande, who had been giving the concert when the bomb went off. And really that's how we've been stalking you. I know Sarah and I said, we need that guy, slowly to get you on. But for those of us ordinary people, that's how you came to our attention, if you like. But I wonder if we could just start from the beginning, if you like. What were you doing at Parswood, and what was that choir, and how did you come to be singing with a pop star that most of us didn't know about? And should have probably known.
So I am obviously from South Manchester.
Yeah.
I went to Barlow actually.
Oh, did you? Ooh, controversial.
So yeah, went to Savarian for sixth form and then went to the Royal Northern College of Music. So I studied as a classical singer there, did my 4-year degree there. And I was kind of teaching at a few places and running a few kind of smaller ensembles from probably when the age of 18 or so. So I think I actually started at Parswood when I was about 18. So quite young actually, but just kind of doing like vocal teaching and stuff like that. And then probably a few years after that, I think we had a full school choir, and then I kind of set up this choir for the kind of people that I taught singing privately as well. So we had the main choir that anyone could come to, and then we did another one for the ones who had singing lessons who might want to do stuff, kind of like 3/4 part harmony. So it's basically a choir for people that wanted to do more challenging stuff, basically. Yeah. So I think I'm 26 now. So yeah, I was probably at Parswood for 7 years or so. 7 years, and then in terms of the actual time after the attack, it happened quite quickly, really. I think the day after the attack, obviously everyone was a bit everyone was shaken up. Obviously, no one really knew what to do.
Did you have students who were present?
Yeah, well, we had two. So we had two of them that were actually in the choir at the concert, which we knew about because they won the tickets on like Key 103 that day. From singing as well on Key 103, so they won the tickets. So yeah, so there was kind of that panic. Both of my brothers work in security as well. They both work at the arena as well. They weren't working that night, but so it was kind of just a thing of waking up the next day and thinking of doing something that, I guess in a selfish way, kind of took my mind off it as well, because I kind of woke up and just thought, like, what can we do here that'll just kind of take my mind off it, but also try and help somehow. So I kind of knew of Ariana anyway, not very well. I remember just scrolling through some songs in the morning, kind of thinking, is there anything here I could arrange to see if we can do a bit of a tribute. It wasn't necessarily Parswood at first, it was just it'd be nice to do something. So, one of my choirs at the time, see if we could just record something, get it out there as like a bit of a tribute. And we set up a kind of Just Giving page to obviously try and raise money for the We Love Manchester Fund as well. So I think I went into school that day, taught the arrangement. I think the next day we recorded it in the studio at Parswood, we put it on YouTube, so we put it on social media, put the Just Giving page up, and I think the next day I had a phone call from ITV National News saying that they had seen it. So the original thing was them using it for the news, so they used it for their kind of tribute programme, which was like stunning. I think it's probably still one of the most watched videos on ITV because it was just beautiful. Obviously they put together this kind of sequence of pictures of everyone that had died and people at the memorial, and then the choir singing as well. So I remember watching that and just being like, wow. So it kind of gets me a bit now, but so that happened obviously, and then that just went viral basically, is the only way you could say. It was getting shared. I think then 2 days after that, again had a phone call from the people from ITV saying that they had been phoned from someone from Live Nation, the production company, who had been contacted by Scooter Braun, who is Justin Bieber's manager and Ariana Grande's manager. So kind of got that phone call and was like, they want to speak to you. So I was like, okay.
Did you put a posh voice?
So, do you know what? It was really stressful. It was really, really stressful because obviously they were in America, and I remember having this email from Scooter Braun, who is probably arguably the biggest artist manager in the world, with this phone number of trying to contact someone in America, and it wasn't going through, and I was googling like, what numbers do I need to put at the start of this to make it work, and it just wasn't going through because I was thinking, if I can't get in contact with them, whatever it is they want to phone me for, they could just be like, oh, we'll leave it. So I was really stressed and thinking, right, let's try and get in contact. So we did in the end, and basically just said that Ariana Grande had seen the video because it was her song. She originally kind of wrote it for the passing of her granddad, so there's kind of one or two bits in it that I changed the words to kind of suit more what had happened in our situation with Manchester. But apart from that, the song pretty much summed up what was going on. It was just about kind of heartbreak and missing people, so it worked really nicely. And just said that she'd seen it and they were planning this big concert, which obviously in the end ended up being a really big concert because every day then they were saying, we've got Justin Bieber in, we've got this person in, we've got... So yeah, it was just all a bit of obviously it all just happened very quickly, and
was it surreal? Did it feel surreal?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
Did it feel like it was really happening? The sadness, and then you were really giving comfort to the families and your students as well. Who were quite young.
I think when I first put it out there, it was something for us to do. It was a nice thing to do, but then also even just setting up that Just Giving page to try and raise money for the for the emergency fund. Obviously you do it thinking, I'm probably going to get about 200 quid here and it's going to be a bit of a kind of flop. And then you wake up the next day and I think, we had something like 6.5 grand on it or something like that by day 2 or something. And from that moment and the year onwards, I think with the choir itself and doing various charity things, I think we raised something like 26,000 or something at the end for the charity. So, and that was just from singing at certain events and trying to raise as much as we could. But yeah, obviously, that week, well, the 2 weeks probably after the attack, the one leading up to the One Love concert was very surreal. Because, and just more so because obviously then you get the media part of things as well, and you're trying to just deal with making it happen logistically, and then you've got obviously, because it was a worldwide thing, especially because of the concert and all of these artists coming together, I had all the big American news people like emailing and stuff trying to get to speak to the choir and trying to film and stuff, so that was a bit, you had to try and ignore that at the same time as actually just yeah, so and it's a funny one because the whole time we were always very aware also that it'd all come from something pretty devastating, so it was that thing of we want to be able to help and we want to be able to put something out there to kind of, sounds a bit cheesy, but kind of give people hope and just have something really like a nice tribute basically.
Doesn't sound cheesy.
No, yeah.
But also, I just wondered as well, because your choir was young people, did you have to become a bit of a fatherly figure to them all? Because young people are quite emotional about stuff, and then one minute. So whilst you were doing that was giving hope. But did you did you have to be sort of a bit of a counsellor, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've always had to have that role anyway. I think a lot of the time, I'm sure I can talk about it a bit more later on, but pretty much everything that I do with my choirs is to do with like mental health basically, do you know what I mean? Making sure that people, having singing as something that's a relief from stress and stuff like that. So I think even just teaching singing, and quite a lot of the young people that I worked with really did struggle, either from anxiety or just socially. And you kind of do take that on because when, especially, it's the same in many other jobs, but with vocal coaching, you kind of build that relationship where they feel really comfortable in the room, and so they in a way they do feel comfortable around you. So there is that point then of just being like, I guess in a lot of ways they do open up, and you do, it was a real family. That choir was, it was a proper family, it really was. We all supported each other. Obviously the two people that were at the concert as well really struggled because they wanted to be part and they really wanted to be able to show their kind of respects and stuff, but at the same time they were still trying to deal with everything that was going on as well. But also these were like pretty much 30 kids who did know who Ariana Grande was and were massive fans of Ariana Grande. So at the same time, you also had to remember the fact that they were like, oh wait a minute, we're being asked to go and sing for them, who was obviously a big star for them basically, do you know what I mean? So it was obviously really exciting for them at the same time. So probably the weirdest mix of emotions ever, because you're having to deal with a lot.
At the same time. I wonder if I can just ask you some other questions really. I know that you're involved with the LGBT choir, who are amazing. I've heard them several times and stuff in town. But you've got a new choir now called the Youth Choir, and they practice and rehearse in Emmanuel Church here in Didsbury. There's other questions that will all be about choir, but I want to ask you about how did that come about? Because actually someone texted me the other day to say your speaker's on television, so put on television, and there you were. Talking about that. How has that come about, and why have you set up another choir, especially locally as well? Because I think it's great. Yeah,
well basically I don't work at Barswood anymore, so after everything talk about that for various reasons, myself and Hannah Growack as well, who was the head of music at Barswood for quite a while, who's amazing, Neither of us work at the school anymore, so the choir wasn't happening. I used to do a youth choir for Manchester United as well, which was a choir that is the foundation, so obviously they do. It's mainly football for young people, but obviously they wanted to try and branch out to people who necessarily might not be interested in football as well. So I used to be in that choir when it first set up when I was kind of 16, so I was in it originally and then kind of took over as musical director as well, but that's not going anymore either. So that, not having the Parswood choir, not having the United choir, there's so many of the young people that were in the Parswood choir who we still had, who we still knew and saw around Didsbury and stuff, who weren't singing, and I know that these are young people who need music in their life. Do you know what I mean? Like we knew that like so many of them, like it was quite worrying to think like they weren't in any choirs or they weren't singing, because I knew how passionate they were about singing and how much it helped them. So basically it was just, we have to do it. Like we need to make sure that we can set something up so that there is something for these people to come to. And also a lot of the choirs that I do are contemporary choirs, so I was trained classically, but everything I do now is basically like pop choirs and things like that, so it's like what I was doing with Parswood basically, something might come out in the charts and then the next day we'll arrange it and do it the next week. So there are some choirs out there, which are more kind of classical based, but these specifically the young people who I'd worked with in the past obviously wasn't really interested in singing that kind of music, so they did need something a bit more kind of contemporary and a bit more modern. So it's just one of the things that I knew that we had to just do something. We had to make sure there was something there. So I spoke to Nick at Emmanuel and just basically said, look, we've got this idea. Obviously we needed a venue. He loved it, so we're there now every Monday. We've had 3 rehearsals, and they're amazing, like really good.
Fantastic. Well, we'll see you at the turning of the lights for Christmas.
Yeah, we'll be there. They are doing Didsbury Pride as well.
Excellent.
So the Manchester Lesbian and Gay Chorus I mentioned before as well, they're doing Didsbury Pride, and the new youth choir is doing it as well. So.
Brilliant, which is the end of August. Yes, a week after my birthday, if anyone wants to say. One of the things I wanted to ask Dan was that we here at Didsbury FM are concerned about mental health and well-being in the main, in adults and particularly young people. And I think it's no secret that Home Cafe opened because of a tragedy, another young person taking their own life, and there has been other young people here in South Manchester, well, all over really. We've had various experts on here. I think you've been in the audience, we've had several people on. And I just wondered really what impact that can happen to you when you've known young people and, with those mental health problems, and if there was anything that we can all do from your experience to assist young people at all. I don't mean that we're not qualified, just practical things and what impact some of those things have had on you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously without getting into any kind of specific details or anything about, any events really, obviously some things have happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, we
we're aware of that. We've, as I said before, obviously, like it really was a family. So it's a bit kind of like, I'm not a parent, but it's a bit like worrying about whether you're...
Oh, it's all right. Shall we have a break? Yeah.
No, it's all right.
You sure?
Right,
it's quite...
No, it's fine. No, it's about just making sure that the young people are okay. Do you know what I mean? Because obviously, you might be saddened by something, but you want to kind of make sure that they're all right. And seeing them upset, it's like, okay, we need to do something now.
Yeah, that's what I mean, actually, and how you move on from that. Well, some of the other questions that we wanted to ask you, we always ask about what community means to you, what you would spend £1 million on. But one of the things, I know you're here with your partner and your friends, but what and who inspires you? I know you love music. But I wondered if you had been, inspirational. Did you have parents who were inspirational, or friends? Or, where does that love of music come from?
Yeah, I mean, my family's not musical at all, really. Like my don't necessarily come from a musical family, apart from my mum was a great singer, really good. So my mum passed away when I was 11, which was a massive part of my life as well, and how things kind of happened. But she was like a great singer. So yeah, we used to sing a lot together and stuff, and so I guess quite a lot of what I've always wanted to do and what I've done has probably come from that, really, and just kind of wanting to pursue, a career in singing and
So what would you spend £1 million? I haven't got it. And actually, just so you know, after the horrible bomb, every week, much to probably Sarah's upset, I was playing your arrangement, and then Sarah's daughter came on the radio show, and we asked her what song she wanted, and Sarah obviously primed her. She asked for yours. So so we probably cranked up the love of the arrangement. But what would you spend £1 million on, whether by way of philanthropy and something for the community? Would it be music or choir related?
I think it'd have to. The thing is, as I said before, most of the choirs and stuff that I do, it's quite nice because I'm full-time running choirs now. I have 7 a week now, but they're all different as well, so they all, have some kind of corporate choirs and some, so the youth choirs, got Manchester Lesbian Gay Chorus, and then I've got my Manchester Mental Health Choir on Wednesday evening as well, which I set up last year. So again, that's specifically for adults with, any kind of mental health problem. But to be honest, even without having that in the name, pretty much every choir that I do is for well-being. Even if you don't have to come and sing in the choir, you don't have to have depression or anxiety or anything like that. Everybody has mental health. Everyone has to look after themselves. So I love to be able to offer that as something to just be able to sing. So Carol over there. Hi Carol. Carol helps out with my Northern Choir on a Tuesday evening, so she does all the registers and helps with everyone coming in, all the printing and everything that I'm rubbish at doing, basically. So and so we set that up.
We need a Carol, actually.
You definitely need a Carol. So we set that up. How long have we been going? 5 months, 6?
October.
I can't remember. It's quite a long time. It's coming off that. Yeah. So that's Northern Choir. So we just set that up in Northern and Social Club, thinking, if I can get 30 people, that was just a sub sing. So I thought, if I can get some money, we'll set it up. And we had 140 people come on the first day, which is great. We still get now every week, on average, 90 people coming to sing. So they love, obviously, just coming to sing. But anyway, go back to the actual.
That's alright.
Basically, my point is, apart from projects like that, the actual projects that I really care about, and obviously you really want to make happen most of the time, are the ones that obviously you don't have any money or funding for. So the Manchester Mental Health Choir, we set up that, and I was doing it voluntary for ages. We still don't have much funding. The youth choir that we set up, we have nothing. So again, and I kind of set up a crowdfunding for that, and it's hard. We wanted to make sure it was free so that literally anyone could come to it. And again, it's not for young people with any kind of mental health problem. It's a choir just for young people to come and sing. But obviously, if people do have any kind of mental health problems, which some people in the choir do, great, it's there for them, but it's also there for the young people who might not, but we also want to make sure that we look after it before anything might crop up as well. But again, it's one of the things, we wanted to get it going first, and at first I thought, obviously I had to advertise and try and get people there, and I was trying to look at funding and stuff at the same time. I thought, let's actually get it going. The most important thing is that if we've got a venue and someone to actually run it, and kids to come and sing in it, that's all we need. Do you know what I mean? So get it up and going. Let it do what it needs to do, which is just get young people singing, and then then I worry about trying to get some money for it, because obviously things do cost things, and you can't do everything for free as well, unfortunately.
No.
As well, you know? So it's one of the things. So I'm sure £1 million could definitely fund lots of projects which I'm passionate for, but unfortunately, you know, you can't really get the money for it. So.
Well, we'll plug that on the radio in here. And what does community mean to you?